Steve Cropper and Duck Dunn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the Nation Studios, it is time for the State of the Nation. Good morning, and how's everybody doing out there today? It's a special day, obviously, if I'm doing an AM version of anything here. And the State of the Nations, I normally try to reserve those. This is only the third one, I think, of State of the Nation for major news days regarding the channel. So this is one of those. In case anybody hasn't heard it yet, the news is out. They've made it official. 2K18 is going to come out this fall. Surprise, shocker. Of course, no information has currently been released on the game yet, other than the fact that the fine folks at 2K will be stowing upon us another gem, I am sure. Other than that, we can presume, based on history of 2K and WWE games, that somewhere by mid-June, maybe late June, they will tell us who the cover art is going to be. And I'm thinking in my mind, who would I think they would put on the cover this year? And I'm really struggling. God, I can't believe they would put Roman on there. Because, you know, they're already going to have a tough time selling this game after the last one. And I think if you put Roman on there, it's just not going to happen, man. I mean, you want to put someone on there that you can do some sort of a package around. Like Cena last year, they did the Cena Enough edition. Although the year before that... Well, no, actually, Cena wasn't on the cover. It was, what's his name there? Seth Rollins, right? I'm so confused. Let me check here. Yeah, Seth Rollins. Yet Cena was the one featured. Go figure that crap out, huh? Damn. I am so... Do they go with a legend? Like, you know, they've already done Austin. They've already done Taker. In the interest of, like, you know, the corporate face, I'm gonna go bold. Is this the year a female goes on the cover? Now, I know it's a long shot at best, but Charlotte or Ronda, I would hate to see Ronda on the cover. It would be absolutely horrible for her. Or maybe this is the year they go back to old school and they put 3 or 4 on the cover. And I don't think that's a bad idea at all. I think it's a much better idea. I mean, not for nothing. I've never been a huge Seth Rollins fan. I kind of liked him for a hot minute there, and then he got injured and lost all his steam. And I'm sure he's a great guy. I got nothing against him personally. He's just never excited me in the ring. And I remember when he was back in FCW and then NXT, and that entrance of his, I was like, I couldn't watch it. Looked like he was having a spasm on stage or some shit. While we discuss the possibilities, I would love to see... All right, so maybe Charlotte's like the centerpiece, and then you put a couple of the big names on either side of her. You know, do a 3-piece that way. Yeah, I can't imagine them putting Hall of Famers on the cover, only because then, you know Vince, man, he's got that logic is, well, this isn't going to be an old school game. You know, they might dust off the old legends of WrestleMania at some point in time, but I'd say other than that, I can't see it. But stranger things have happened. But I have a funny feeling it's going to be a shared cover. That's my prediction, which I think is a good thing. And I'm going to say Charlotte makes the cover. She deserves to. Absolutely, hands down, has earned that right. I'm just trying to think who I would flank that with. You could do Samoa Joe. He hasn't had a shot yet, and he's a pretty decent draw there. I mean, it doesn't hurt the fact that doesn't help the fact that I really don't watch a lot of the product anymore. Well, AJ hasn't been on the cover. What are we talking about? Oh, forget it. Conversation's over. AJ Styles, forget it. AJ's going to be your cover boy. But, that said, not a fan of that. I don't mind him being there with Charlotte and maybe one other. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and Charlotte. With Charlotte front and center. They're never going to put a diva or one of the women wrestlers on the cover alone because then, well, what are we selling? A girl's video game? You know, like a female video game? It's, you know. They play a smaller portion of the roster, obviously. Therefore, you don't want to promote that as your whole complex. But I do think it's a good time to share the spotlight. God knows they've earned it. No, they have never featured a tag team, which is a very interesting point. But think about it. What tag team is good enough to be on the cover? It's not like the old days where you had the LOD and you had the Hart Foundation. And there's no way in hell you're going to put the 3 idiots over there on the cover. I mean, don't get me wrong. They got over and all that stuff, but there ain't enough room on that cover for a trombone. Yeah, no. I mean, God, I hope not. They're almost done. I mean, you know they're about to be broken up in the near future. I mean, they've run their course. Now's not the time to put them on a cover. Let me get a little match going on here for the background. And we can hash out some other stuff. I got some other stuff to talk about, too. I'm going to wait for the some other folks maybe to jump in here and make it a little bit more of a party. So, yeah, the tag team thing is a cool idea. I got to admit, I'm kind of liking that. I just wish, they would have... If they wouldn't have broke up American Alpha, which I really thought had so much potential to be a super tag team, you could have done Steiner Brothers kind of stuff with them and had a good 4 or 5 year run and then broke them up and had them go at each other. I just think they squashed that way too early. And everyone by now knows, if you watch this channel, my opinion on the Ascension and how they got screwed over. They should be the LOD of this generation. Too late for that. That ship has sailed, and WWE has effectively destroyed any chance of that happening. Sure as hell not going to be that, I don't know, the ones that turned on Paul Ellering. I don't even remember their names. I just, Akam and Rezar, whatever the hell tag team name they got. Yeah, haven't figured that team out yet. They're not very good. That's all I can say. Yeah, they're big. That's about it. They end it big. I don't see big and good. Maybe other people will see it differently. Sean Allen is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Sean Allen. Oh, well, you know what, Sean? Any day you're up on this side of the ground, it's a good day, I guess, right? I am still dealing with my neck issues, and probably going to talk about that in a little bit here, because I was going to find out how many... I'm finding out, surprisingly, at work, how many different people have been dealing or have dealt with the same thing that I'm dealing with right now, and how many different... Excuse me while I get rid of that. How many different things they did to take care of it.
What I'd like to have right now is for all you fat, ugly, inner city sweat hogs.
I'm not fat.
Keep the noise down while I take my robe off and show the ladies what a real sexy man looks like. Hit the music.
All right, Ricky, do it. Show us, Ricky. Show us. I do miss this guy. The ripped and the chiseled. I was so pissed off that the damn music didn't play right yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, entering the ring at this time, the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant. I could never figure. I didn't really watch Jimmy Valiant back in the old WWF run. So my only real experience with him was when I moved down south and saw him in the NWA, and that was definitely towards the end of his career. And I just could not figure out how that man was getting any wins. I kind of liked him. I thought his shtick was good. Wasn't a big fan of Big Mama, though, man. She was too sloppy looking for me. All right, well, while these guys hook it up. So, I've been mentioning a little bit here and there. I've been having some really incredible neck problems for the last, 6 weeks now, and it's just gotten progressively worse. And back when we did that mega stream was when it really started. That was like the first couple of days where it was getting to that point where it was really becoming difficult to deal with. And finally got the MRI done, went to see a specialist the other day and find out that, yes, indeed, there is an issue with the disc between the C7 and the C6, which, of course, affects, if you're not familiar, I've learned so much about the cervical spine, it's probably time for me to go to school and become a doctor. But that is the area that when the nerves get affected, it affects your right shoulder all the way down your right arm, and you lose feeling in your right hand, things like that. And that's kind of where we're at the moment. The numbness isn't a huge thing right now. I don't like it, but I mean, it's functional. The pain, that's something different. You have to sit a certain way. If you turn your head another direction, man, it's like somebody sticking an ice pick right under your right shoulder blade. It's no fun. It is no fun at all. So I don't know if any of you guys have had similar experience. I've had a few guys at work that I've now talked to, and to my surprise, find out that they had very similar, if not the same. And so far, I've talked to one guy who's had done what I'm going to be doing next, which is a version of an epidural. You might have heard that. They give that to women when they're pregnant, and it kind of numbs things down there for the birth process. Well, this does it for the neck, and it's some sort of not a cortisone shot, but a steroid shot, I guess. But they're going to actually inject it directly into that area between the vertebrae, and to do that, they have to actually have live action X-ray going on at the same time. So they're actually doing it by watching the TV screen to make sure they're going to the right spot. Sounds like a lot of fun to me. I can't wait. I'm excited. So right now it's a matter of fighting the insurance company who does not want to pay that until after you've jumped through all kinds of hoops like a dog in a circus carnival. So right now I'm dealing with some meds that I'll do for a week. That is already after day 3. It's a minor improvement, but so little it's hardly worth mentioning. Step 2 will be this thing with the needle, which may work. I'm hoping it works, but based on what we saw in the MRI report, I'll be a little surprised. And that leads us to the third element, which is surgery. Now, here's the part where it gets a little tricky. The standard surgery, which I made the stupid mistake of looking at on YouTube, they go through the front. They don't literally go through your throat, but so far as your outward physicality is concerned, that's where they would enter. And then they kind of move your voice box and your throat to the side so they can get straight to the thing, to the vertebrae area. Talking to one of the guys at work who had the surgery done, they told him that. Now, at that time, he was a singer for the company. He was a performer, and he's like, you cannot mess with my throat box or my vocal cords, because that can have a lasting effect just by moving them over, I guess. Now I've got to do my new research on that to see what the likeliness is of that, because not for anything, that's kind of what my whole channel is based on, is me being able to do voices. And the thought that I would come out of that thing and permanently sound like, I don't know, I'll be talking like this or something. And it's going to be tough. I could do play-by-play in any voice, I guess, but doing characters and stuff like that, I don't want to. I'd be, really not happy about that. So when he told them that they weren't allowed to, the doctor told him, he says, I guess you're going to make me do it the hard way, which I guess there is a way for them to go from the back and do it. So I'm going to wait till we get to that point in the bridge before I cross it, but I'm going to probably look at seeing what that looks like. I don't know. I'm not anxiously looking towards any of this stuff, to be honest with you. Hello, Sydney, Australia. That's the only place in the world that I have any desire to ever visit outside the United States. I've never left the country. I probably never will. But if I was ever going to go anywhere, I'd want to go to Australia. Some of the coolest people I've ever met. I get to meet with people from all around the world. We've got people that come in and out of our company on programs. They'll work with us for 6 to 8 months. And the Australians are so cool, man. Just so cool. So happy to have you in the house, Joel. Yeah, Rick Rude had something for every town, Sean. Every town. Boston Beanheads or something like that. He had the Wisconsin Cheeseheads, he called them. Or he was good. The Inner City Sweat Hog, he probably used it at a couple of stops, but he definitely used it at Madison Square Garden, because I remember that one. Lucius West in the house, buddy. So just to catch guys up that might be just joining the stream, WWE2K18 was officially announced yesterday. So, yay, 2K has it again. No big surprise there. And we're trying to guess who the cover is going to be. I have now settled on it'll be AJ Styles, but I'm saying that it should be Charlotte, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens. It should be a 3-person cover, and this should be the first time to feature a diva or a female. I keep stuck on that stupid title. Oh, wait, is Boogie Woogie going to take a match from Rick Rude? You got to be kidding me. Holy cow. Well, I have seen it all, and hell just froze over, ladies and gentlemen. Big elbow coming down on Rude. See if we got a dance out of him, no? All right, so boom, there we go. Let's set something else up here real quick. Oh, here we go. Pow. So anyway, the cover art is something we're kind of trying to guess on right now and see who we think is going to get the cover. And again, I'm still hoping this is the year that one of the women makes it, and I can't think of anybody that goes ahead of Charlotte. So let's see if they get their heads out of their rear end and actually do something right off the bat. I know they're not going to feature a female by herself. I get that, and I don't even disagree with it, to be honest with you. At least not yet. We talked earlier about there never being in a tag team before, and the other thing I don't think there's ever been, and there hasn't ever been, is a featured match. So, like, back in the day, when Macho Man and Steamboat stole WrestleMania 3, the next year, if there were a video game, back then I don't think they even had them yet, but if there were a video game, you might have featured a good shot of those two from the match or something like that. So a match of the year kind of clip wouldn't be a bad idea either at some point in time. It's not going to happen this year, I can guarantee you. Phoenix, Arizona. And the other thing we were discussing is the fact that I am looking at probable surgery in the not-too-distant future for this ongoing ailment, which I have now found out through MRIs is a bulging disc between the C6 and the C7 vertebrae, which is pressing down heavily on a nerve, which is affecting my entire right arm from the shoulder blade all the way down to the fingers. And it has been hell on earth dealing with that for the last 6 to 8 weeks now. So I don't know if anybody out there has had the pleasure of dealing with something like that or having dealt with that, but if you have, I'd love to hear what you went with and how you took care of it. The 6-man tag team champions. Was she? Ladies and gentlemen, entering the ring at this time, from the Volunteer State, they are the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Martin and Robert Gibson. the U.S. Tag Team Champions. All right, who remembers that entrance music, man? That was like 86. And during the Bash tour, they actually did a concert for like a couple hundred people were in there. Yeah, JH, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. When you say Trish was on the cover, she was one of several, though, right? She wasn't by herself. Day of Reckoning, what system was that for? Because I never got that one. And I'm thinking it wouldn't have been... Well, depending how far back that goes. You know, before the PlayStation came out, I was a Sega guy. Oh, GameCube, yeah, I never had that at all. Now, was it just Trish Stratus, or were there other people on that? Oh, you're saying multiple. Okay, got you. Actually, let me take a look at that. What was that called again? Day of Reckoning WWF at that time. Let me see. There was a Day of Reckoning, too. Who knew? You're right. There are 3. Count them, 3 stars. There you got it. Day of Reckoning. All right, Joel. Yeah, you guys on the other side of the world there. Well, my normal broadcast time is right during the best part of your day then, because this is normally late for me. But I kind of work on your AM schedule over here because I got a nighttime gig. I might work on a mock-up cover for 2K19. I can't because it's not mine. It's I wish I could remember who made this one. The one I originally had, I switched out because I like this one better. I haven't checked in a while, but if you go back and he's still there, which he probably is, to me it was clearly the best one. I mean, I don't see any arguing. The face scan he has in there is much better, and I just thought it looked really sharp. And it's not tongueless. I'm 99% sure of that. Most of the stuff I have, if it's not mine, it's tongueless, and then I got like one other guy's that I might use occasionally. But the majority of my 100 slots are either mine or tongueless. And I can say this, tongueless is the only one who's ever made something that made me delete mine to take his. Actually, when this one's over, when this match is over, I'll bounce over and see if I can find it for you. So as 2K19 now gets announced, I'm already starting to think ahead of, you know, what's going to happen October, late October, early November, and where does the channel go with the next season. which is kind of normal for me right about now. There's two things in my mind: getting geared up for the Great American Bash, which I miss greatly, and getting ready for the next season of whatever WWE game I'm going to be doing. So this year, the big direction change was going with the AWA, adding that to the mix. And actually drawn a blank now. I know I cut something else out from last year, but I can't even recall what it was. Oh, I guess it was the FWF is down drastically now. There's only like 4 or 5 events all year for the FWF. And even Rise Wrestling doesn't get a lot of play time because there's only so many hours in the day. And yeah, actually, that's been out there for a while, the whole Flair and Tully thing, but it really wasn't all Flair. A lot of people kind of say that, and I'm not saying he didn't have a hand in it, but Tully really kept Tully out because he went and got screwed up. They were all set to bring him back in. Everything was ready to go, and then he got the drug issue over in WWF. I do recall hearing something about money as well, but I do think it was the whole drug scandal, because you got to remember at that time, that was a hot topic. There was a lot of heat coming down. There, you know what I like in it too is what's happening now with the gaming industry with loot boxes and how many eyes have turned on to that. And that the fact that there's actually the government's getting involved in different nations, including our own slowly, where they're going to outlaw loot boxes. They're going to actually look at finding and possibly incarcerating game designers who are putting these predatory acts together where they're basically making... Look at this, Ricky Morton draped across Arn Anderson. Referee, where's the double count, man? Both sets of shoulders are down. Gosh dang it, that's a perfect opportunity right there. But yeah, you look at some of these games that are out there right now, between Star Wars Battlefront 2, which so screwed the pooch for everybody, man, where it was completely, not only was it pay to play, but you paid and there was no guarantee what you'd get. And they didn't even give you odds on what you would get, so it was literally a roulette game. And then you look at another game like, what's it called there, Rocket League. Man, that is as gambling gets. Double A in trouble. I don't like the odds here. 2. Nice win for the Rock and Roll. Ladies and gentlemen, in a time of 7 minutes and 26 seconds, your winners, Ricky Morton, Robert Gibson, the Rock and Roll Express. What match are you referring to? Backlash. What are we talking about? I feel like I just jumped tracks. All right, let's go see if I can find that J.J. Dillon. That looks like it might be him. This is the one I was going with at first, and I still like it. But I'm pretty sure this is the one I'm going with now, yeah. Let's see who this is by. D-Del 37. Yep, that's him. So that's the one I'm using. Shout out to D-Del. Good work there. Let's see what else D-Del has done. He's got a decent Orndorff. Actually, that's the Orndorff I was using until Tongueless put his out, and Tongueless, man, top-notch. Tully Blanchard's cool. I still like Tongueless a little bit better. That's a close second, though. That might be the Magnum I'm using right now. I honestly don't even remember now. It's a decent Bob Eaton, but I wasn't giving mine up for that one. I like mine. That is the Manny Fernandez I am currently using, so D-Del's got some stuff. Not the LOD I've got. If I had the slots, I would totally have stole that Jimmy Garvin because I like that so much better than the in-game. But I am all out of slots. He's got his Mulkeys, which actually look pretty good. I'm sticking with mine, though. His Ivan Koloff isn't bad. I just like mine better. Same thing with Rotundo, although my Rotundo wasn't mine. It was an IRS that I changed. And George South isn't bad either. I just don't have any slots. My friend, I can't pronounce your name, but welcome aboard. Thank you so much. And here's the thing, man. I've been talking about my neck problems. There's so much strain that I put on my vocal cords when I do certain aspects of these voices that it actually hurts. And now I know why the Joey Styles thing hurts so much, and that's over a year and a half ago. And by the way, that's one of the things I gave up was ECW when I made the switch to AWA. And that was a big part of the reason, not to mention I already ran the course with that. There wasn't too much I could really do with ECW that I hadn't already done. And, you know, to make it authentic, you know, you got to drop a bunch of F-bombs, stuff like that. And I just wasn't feeling it, so. But to do the Joey Styles voice, especially now, I would be, like, crying at the end of an hour. I've got a pinched nerve, if you're just joining, that I've been dealing with for a while now, and you know, I got to kind of sit in a certain position. I got to keep my head in a certain position, and then the pain is manageable. But in those moments in the match, like there was one yesterday, I forget which one it was now, but kind of a shocking ending. Oh, Vader against Sting. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched yesterday's NWA show. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Sting beats Vader with the Scorpion Deathlock. And I kind of thought he was going to, you know, turn out of it or whatever. And all of a sudden he's tapping out. I legitimately was surprised. So when all of a sudden my voice goes up at the end there and you can hear it, you might even hear a little bit of the pain coming through because it was really reacting to the video. And I was surprised he tapped out. That was pretty early in the match. Thank you so much. I appreciate the words, man. I'm working on it. Between me and the doctors. You know, one thing I'll tell you right now that I have a whole new appreciation for. Let me get out of this. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'm going to show you guys some stuff that I'm all about here. Let's go get rid of... Well, let's start here. We'll just go with most downloaded. It's fine. And these are my featured favorites right here. So these are the guys who I will normally look to for created stuff that I want to use. So these are probably the Nasty Boys I'm using. I'm pretty sure I just took off all the little dribbles of color and stuff and made it solid black with the Nasty Boys for the AWA. That's the Kamala I'm using. I am using a different hot rod than that, but I'm not sure whose. That is the Ted DiBiase I'm using. The only difference is I did some work on his face. I shrunk the nose down in height a little bit, and I might have moved the eyes slightly and stuff like that. I just thought it was a little too stretched out. Almost caricature here, but it still looks great. And then, of course, I took all the $1 Million Man garb off because I'm using them for the UWF, and I gave him the newer tires. Iron Sheik is phenomenal. Sergeant Slaughter, that was one of the first ones that came out by somebody, and you know, we can get a look at some of these names too, so I'm giving people props. Rain Always got Sergeant Slaughter. Chromafly, he's got some good stuff out. Iron Sheik. Who got the DiBiase? Rain Always again. So these are some of the guys. Obviously, tongueless. This will be a tongueless Brian Pillman, which, again, if I had room, I would be wanting to use that. Top-notch work right here, man. He's one of the most consistent guys, I'll say that right now. This is probably the Mike Rotundo I have. I just changed the hair and, of course, the entire costume. Yeah, Ring Rat. He's another one that's got some good stuff out. But as I was starting to say, I've got a whole new appreciation for wrestlers, because we all know, I mean, look at Paige, look at Austin, and the list goes on, Edge, that all deal with these neck issues that, whether they're career-ending or they have to deal with the pain and go on. And if you've never experienced it, A, thank you, or be grateful, don't. But, man, for 4 days, I couldn't even get into work, man. I could not barely move. I was in so much pain. And when you hear these guys are finishing matches, it's incredible to me. I can't fathom it. Who did the J? That's the JYD I'm using as well. Chroma Fly again. Yeah, like I said, boy's got some good stuff out. That is not the Dynamite Kid I'm using. And this is also going to be tongueless, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's Chroma Fly. There's another one coming up, maybe. And I'm pretty sure that is the Magnum TA I'm using, which I think we saw that earlier already. Yeah, Dito. Feel confident that is. And I really can't remember which LOD now. It's been so long that I downloaded. That's my Ronnie Garvin, yeah. 1,400 down. You guys go, man. That is the Kevin Sullivan I'm using. That Kevin Sullivan is friggin' spot on. That's tongueless, of course. Actually, let's just take a look at his work real quick. I had some people asking me, hey, can you do this? Can you upload that one again? And this and that. And I kept sending them messages saying, hey, man, somebody wants you to upload this. He's like, where are they seeing all this stuff? I said, dude, you're on my channel, man. You got to check this out. So he's a part of the PS community, the Humanoid Nation. You can see that in the bottom left corner of your screen there. So he'll post pictures of his work up there in the community. There's a lot of creators that post stuff up in the community page. Let's take a look at all of his stuff. No, I did not know that was for James Storm. How interesting. I can see that, though. Yeah, man, I want the Z-Man, but I got no space. Dino Bravo. I wasn't a huge fan of Dino, but I would totally like to use that. I just don't, you know what? The more I'm looking at his Ivan Koloff, I may end up. I like mine, except for the fact that the face scan, I should have done a little something more with it. Yeah, I might end up taking his and getting rid of mine. That's something they need to do in 2K19 for the love of God. If you want to delete a wrestler, just hit a button and have him deleted. Whatever shows he's in, he's out of. Whatever team he's a part of, the team is gone. This having to go through 3 different seasons and having to delete him from each roster he may be a part of, and then remove him from a team he may be a part of, just so you can delete him to upload something else. Holy shit, 2K. Give me a freaking break. I have not watched that Table of 3 because I just, God, is Elias really over? I mean, is he getting over with the fans? Because I can't stand him. Again, I'm sure he's a great guy. I just hate the act. Here's the Orndorff I'm going with. Again, this is all tongueless. You want to, if you haven't seen him, again, I love his Magnum TA. And I really want to switch to his, but man, it's just more work of switching out of everything else. And okay, look at his preview real quick. Man, I might end up doing it. Tito Santana's friggin' amazing. Spot on. Blanchard, look at this Ricky Steamboat. This Ricky Steamboat is insane. This is absolutely better than the in-game. And again, I would totally use it if I could. I just don't have any slots. No, it's not like I don't like him because he's not a face. I don't like him because he puts me to sleep. It's like I go to get a drink or something, or take a whiz when he comes on TV because I just, man, his act. Who's he reminding me of? I don't know. It's like I can't even think of who it reminded me of. It's kind of like what's the new schmuck, the former NXT guy that they just brought on board on the main roster, who doesn't realize he's Alberto Del Rio 2.0. And that's all he is. He's just another Alberto Del Rio. It's like, now we've been there, done that already, man. There's nothing about him that makes me want to watch him. Yeah, Elias, man, I don't know. I can't. I hate his act. I hate his act. That's the Bob Orton. I mean, here's the Snook I just recently switched to. Then again, I deleted mine to take this one on. But, yeah, look at that. That is spot on. Guy does amazing work. I might even go with his Morocco over mine. At this rate, I'm going to have his roster more than mine. I don't know. That does look good, though. And he does the movesets right, too. I mean, his movesets, his taunts, all that stuff, spot on. Look at that Pedro Morales there, man. That thing is really good. He just did Hogan recently. Bob Backlund, man. That's an amazing Bob Backlund. There's two versions of him, with the short hair and with that hair. Entrance is there. The exit is there. It's all there, and spot on. Buddy Rose, I like mine a lot. I'm just going to say that. Hogan he just recently did. But I really like mine. I'm not getting rid of mine no matter what. Got some Thunder Lips looking stuff going on there on the right. Got some Ernest Miller. That's a pretty solid Dustin Rhodes. Let's see who did that one. Ring Rat, yep. Oh my God, yeah, I saw that. What they're doing with Ronda. Man. What was the point in having her come out before WrestleMania and saying, I don't want a title match given to me, I want to earn it? What was the point of that whole promo to give her a title match after a tag team match in the ring? One match only, and a tag team at that. She shined, she did great, and she'll do great. Put her up against Sasha Banks, put her up against Peyton Royce, put her up against any of them. Oh, she has to win. There's no... If she does not beat her, then they just threw a lot of money out the door. The only way Nia Jax retains is if somebody else interjects themselves into the match and then becomes Ronda's focus, and that gets her off the title picture and into some matches that can earn her a title match. But I mean, how do you... Even if they do that, how do you do... Why? You don't need to do it the way they're doing it. If that's what they do. You're still forcing the round peg in the square hole by giving her the title match now that she hasn't earned. Hey, that Ron Bass looks familiar. Oh, yeah, that's mine. And that's my Eaton there. Mongo McMichael. I liked Mongo, man. I thought he did a really good job. For a guy who wasn't a wrestler. What do we want here? Dream match. Undisputed Era versus Attitude Era DX in an 8-man. I don't have the DX guys other than like Shawn and Triple H. Yeah, I mean, it seems like her and Natty are naturally going to be going at it, and God knows there's going to be some really good matches. All right, let's get some matches going here so I can pay attention to the chat more. Two on two. We can do an 8-man. Theo's in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, Theo Clardy. Yeah, Theo, everything you just said is what I've heard. I just call bullshit on it because, all right, you don't want to put her in the Money in the Bank, nor should you. You are not going to run the risk of injuring her in something as stupid as that. And she's not ready for that. Number one. Number two, and we didn't want to put her in a match on her own. Why the fuck not? I mean, you are putting her in a match on her own against Nia Jax. Why don't you give her a top contender? Somebody decent. I wouldn't want to put her against Charlotte, even with Natty causing an interference or anything. But, yeah, man, put her up there against Peyton. And let them have a match. And let her go over. And then after she's celebrating, have Natty shoot her from behind, man. It isn't hard, man. This is not rocket science. All right, let's see. What kind of a match can we come up with here? I got some ideas floating in my head. Let's go with... I just had a new idea floating in my head. See that? That's my problem. Too much stuff floating in my head. I am so disgusted with what happened to this poor girl. That wasn't right. Where are we? Where are we? I'm having a mental moment. I can't get a name in my head that I'm thinking, oh, you know what? We'll start here. Just got the name back. The Balor Club. And who they gonna go up against? Who they gonna go up against? What other ECW names do we have in the game? If ECW would have stuck around a few years longer, man, guys like Kevin Owens would have been there. Gotta be some other ECW guys in here. There we go. Yeah, I've got to agree. I thought she did an amazing job at WrestleMania, a lot better than I was expecting. And she wasn't even going up against top talent there. I mean, Stephanie, come on. You're going to tell me that Stephanie's going to give her the same, and she did good, but you're going to tell me she's going to give her the same quality a match Charlotte's going to? Give me a break. But that's all the more here's the reason you don't put her in the ring with Nia Jax. Nia Jax damn near kills people. That girl, man, I'll never forget. And look, accidents happen in the ring. We know that. But she has a lot of accidents. Maybe not so much lately. I just have no confidence in her. I wouldn't want my daughter getting picked up by her. I mean, I'll never forget what she did to Charlotte on Raw, man. She damn near killed that girl. A fucking shoulder breaker on the knee, and she missed her knee. She spiked her head first into the freaking canvas. I thought she was dead. There we go. I knew we got one here somewhere. Boom. All right. Let's get some blood and guts going in this thing. Mighties, yeah, go ahead and request a match, man. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, Cactus and Bait. Doug, Cactus Jack. Where the hell was I at, man? How did I even forget that? It's been a long day. You got to remember, I'm at the end of my day. My brain's already gone to sleep. Oh, well, she was green then, but then wasn't very long ago, so how green is she now? This was only about, what, 6 months ago, maybe? She was green enough that they brought her up to the main roster. I've heard the rumor mill about Cass's situation. You always take it with a grain of salt. I mean, there's so many rags and dirt sheets out there, and they, you know. I agree with the wrestlers when you see them, and I love watching Al Snow shoots. And he's like, you have all these people out there that think they know. It's like, he's, in case you guys don't know, Al Snow is huge on the issue of anything medical. It's like his whole thing. You know, like me, I'm a Walking Dead person. I'll watch Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, anything zombie related. I'm just all into it. With him, it's anything medical. So whether it's shows like House or any of those kind of shows, but he also watches like television programs on medical procedures and all that. He's just into it big time, and he knows a lot more shit about that than, you know, people like you and I probably do. But he says, now, if I have something wrong and I go to the doctor and he tells me what I should do I know more than the doctor does? Well, of course, no, is the answer. And he says, and neither do fans know more than I do as a wrestler. So it all makes sense, yeah. There's a lot of people that act like they know what's going on backstage and all this crap. I don't know how much truth. I find it hard to believe. Here's what doesn't make sense to me. Cass is told that he's going to do one thing. And I'm trying to remember, who was it he beat up? Oh, Daniel, right? Was it Daniel Bryan? That he took some extra attacking liberties on after the match. That he had run it by a couple of different people and it was shot down, including, of course, Vinnie Mac. But then decided on his own he was going to do it anyway. Unless he's trying to get out of his contract, I doubt that happened. I doubt he was told not to and he went and did it. Andre and Braun, now that's a match. Who was it he attacked? Was it Daniel Bryan or was it... Because I don't watch it anymore. I just can't. I usually end up fast-forwarding through half of the pay-per-views. Oh, that's right. He brought out a midget Daniel Bryan. Now I remember. I remember reading. I didn't see it, but yeah, I heard about it. And even that, it's like, gosh, dang it. Haven't we done that already? I mean, with the little Bret Hart and the little Mr. T going back before that. I mean, granted, they wait every like 15 years to dust it off again, but I don't know, man. Do you guys have no writers with originality at all? Again, I seriously doubt he is going to go against Vince's command. So I'm not buying it. Any more than I believed, what was the other heat? On Ronda Rousey backstage. I think the vast majority, the overwhelming majority of the ladies in the locker room, and probably even some of the men, realize Ronda Rousey means more asses in the seats. And that means I get a bigger paycheck. You know, you talk to anyone that was in the locker room with Hogan back in the 80s, and they all wanted to be on the card when Hogan was appearing because they knew they getting paid. You want me to lay down? No problem. Pay me. Question about an arena I downloaded. A Mid-Atlantic studio arena, but the crowd size is too big. If I change the crowd size, is that going to ruin the whole arena? No, it is not. And bottom line is, do it. And if it does anything you don't like, just don't save it. Just back out without saving it, but it should not. You may end up having certain things change, like if you had signs like the neon signs in the background and things like that. They may disappear because certain small arenas don't have those. But the ring should stay exactly the same. The stage, if you don't change it, should stay the same unless you go to an arena that can't have a stage. So, that again, you'll lose that. But your ringside area, that should all be absolutely fine. I'm going to be curious to see what they do with Daniel, because allegedly, right now, Daniel hasn't signed. I mean, he's like, week by week, day by day, month by month, whatever the deal is. But according to what I've read, he's not property of WWE right this moment. Not long term, anyway. And I'm guessing everybody has heard the news about CM Punk and the rumor mill going on about him showing up at ROH. And let's give a big tip of the hat, man. They sold out a 10,000-seat building in 30 friggin' minutes. Congratulations. Cody fucking Rhodes. If that isn't the best thing that could have happened to professional wrestling, I don't know what is right now. Because now all these people, some of them are in the WWE, and it shows in the product sometimes. Some of them are here simply for the paycheck and the fame. And that's great. Let the wrestlers go to Ring of Honor and other locations. Hopefully a couple others pop up as well. Because that is what we need to get back to. We need to have competition, real competition, not TNA. TNA sucks. TNA is dead. Somebody's just got to take them off life support. And NWA, yeah, good luck. I like Billy. I like what he's trying to do. Nah, it's dead. You bought a dead horse, man, and then you want to put him in the Kentucky Derby. Yeah, the audience that you select for an arena is absolutely going to play a huge role in whether or not it feels right. Like when I do my NWA Saturday TV shows, World Championship Wrestling, I got one of the smallest arenas I could to make it seem like the soundstage over in Atlanta. If I were to put that in an outdoor arena, it would look stupid as hell. And this right here is absolutely one of my favorite arenas in the game right now. This and the original ECW arena. We lie, we cheat, we steal. Think about how much bigger this guy got from ECW to his last, time wrestling in WWE. I mean, his arms blown up, and I don't know, he might have took a little bit of roids here, but I don't think he did much in that. I mean, he just bulked up a bunch. Yeah, there's two things that with an arena that I always want is, A, I want to change the crowd because all my stuff is old school. So I want to go to one of those neutral crowds. Kind of like this one here, I think. You don't see too much, yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do an ECW crowd since they had this arena in it. But you don't see a bunch of Jake the Snake Robert t-shirts. You don't see a bunch of, well, you do see some signs, but you can't get rid of that. But you don't see the AJ t-shirts. You don't see, so it doesn't give you a specific time frame. So with all of my arenas, I basically go with that crowd. And then again, most of my stuff, like, Florida Championship Wrestling, or Championship Wrestling from Florida, that was mostly in small facilities. Eddie Graham was not a big stadium. Even though they called it a stadium, it really wasn't. I forget what Eddie Graham could hold. It wasn't many. Maybe 2,000, if that. I never got to go there myself. When I moved to Florida, they were only around for another couple of years, and then they bulldozed it. Thank you, SLS. Appreciate you, man. You guys got to check out the streams that he does, man. I get a kick out of his commentary. It makes me laugh. Had a good one-liner yesterday about, what the heck was it now? I can't remember the wording. It was like, it was a female match, and it's like she sat that ass down on her tinamabums or something like that. Her chestises. Her chestises, I think it was the word. I was cracking up. Sometimes you remind me of like Larry the Cable Guy calling wrestling, and I'm like, that's perfect. Who better to call a wrestling match than Larry the Cable Guy? Think about that. For all the shit that they've ever done in wrestling, and the guest announcer Mary Hart back at WrestleMania 2 and all that crap, Elvira, oh my God. Gosh dang it, bring in Larry the Cable Guy on a Monday Night Raw. Remember when they had the guest GMs? Larry the fucking Cable Guy, let him call a match. Oh my God, that would be funny as shit. You'd make me watch wrestling even today. Breastises. Yeah, there you go. Bro, what's up? Ladies and gentlemen, now entering the chat zone, Abra. And then the other thing is Finn Balor will not be in Demon Gimmick very much anymore. And I actually agree with this. So according to the rag sheets, if that is true, and it totally makes business sense, and it definitely reeks of Vince, he only wants the Demon to come out on certain events, and he will not lose when he's the Demon. So you can still have him lose matches otherwise, sparingly use the Demon Gimmick maybe 3 times a year, and in his own way build up a streak like you did with The Undertaker. And once you get to that point where you've had him win like 12, 15 matches in a row as the Demon against decent talent, then you can have that build up to a feud, coming down to the big pay-per-view where he gets out there in the ring and he says, "You're not going to be facing me. You're going to be facing the Demon." And the place is going to lose their fucking minds. And then they'll feed him to Brock Lesnar, who will beat him in 5 seconds. AJ almost putting RVD down. Team Extreme going up against the Balor Club. Yes, I'm there. I said hello to you, Abrahaha. I gave you a big old announcement and everything. Well, he's not doing it, but that's the reason why. And thank you for the sub, buddy. I appreciate that. I wonder if my little alert didn't go off. It's supposed to have like a... I don't know what's supposed to happen. Something's supposed to happen on my screen. I may have been looking at the other screen and missed it. I apologize if I did. I've got 3 different screens in here for the broadcast, so I'm looking at different things on different ones. Yeah, Theo, I mean, and that's the way to do it, because, again, you can still, like with The Undertaker, he hardly ever lost matches. He won a large portion of his matches. You don't want to do that with Finn, because he's an average-sized guy. So he's going to win some, he's going to lose some. But when you add that one little element as to which Finn are you going to face, and that when he's the demon, he just doesn't lose. You talk about a guy who got kind of screwed over, man. I mean, he gets the Universal title, night 1, defends it, separates his shoulder, finishes the freaking match. They have to obviously strip him of the title, and all that downtime does kind of... It takes a little steam out of the sails, no doubt about it. But, man, his comeback, when he came back, he should have jumped the rail, beat the shit out of Kevin Owens. I want my belt back, bitch. And then took it and got the rightful run he deserved. Yeah, I'll tell you what, CM Punk, he came in after the Attitude Era, and wrestling was definitely getting stale. That one moment, that pipe bomb moment where you knew he's not on script. Yeah, they could have cut his mic earlier, but you knew he was doing his own thing. His contract was legitimately turning out. And that thing went over so big, they figured, roll the dice. Hey, what the hell? Let him say what he wants to say. He's leaving anyway. And it went over so friggin' big that I think they decided, hey, we got some lightning here. And that was what I was starting to think back to. Now you just reminded me of what this Ronda Rousey title match reminds me of. This Ronda Rousey title match is rushed. And I couldn't remember what it was I was trying to think of, and now I know. They rushed Ronda's title match the way they rushed CM Punk and John Cena. So CM Punk leaves with the title. Bye. Gotta go. Rey Mysterio wins the tournament. Cena, I think, cashed in Money in the Bank or some shit. I don't remember what it was. Or Rey gave him the title match the next week. Cena wins the title. So we're talking about a total of maybe 4.5 weeks. And then all of a sudden, CM Punk comes back. They were doing great with that because they wanted to rush it for SummerSlam. They should have dragged that out. CM Punk, when he left, he had a Twitter of the belt in his refrigerator. I thought that was friggin' hilarious. They had a picture of him at a Chicago Cubs game or something like that with the belt, throwing out the pitch. He went to a ROH house show. He's in the ring. He didn't wrestle, but he was in the ring with the belt. This was shit that just didn't really happen. And it was working. Even though you kind of knew it was a shoot, you started to wonder. You weren't positive. There was a little doubt. Count out victory. Wow, that's a sucky way to win it. But what they should have done is just kept that going. Like he showed up at the Comic-Con and confronted Triple H on the panel from the audience microphone. That was all great stuff. All of that was done well, but they should have kept him out. Let Cena keep running with that belt. Give it 3, 4, 5. And, sacrifice SummerSlam for WrestleMania. Can you imagine how much better Mania would have been with that as your main event? I'm not going to be on much longer. I think I got one more match, and then I'll be bouncing. I might check you guys out, actually, for a little bit. We're going to take a quick look here at what would happen if Braun Strowman got in the ring with Andre the Giant. It ain't going to be no count out, I can tell you that right now, man. Pinfalls count anywhere in this bitch. Yeah, Corey, I totally agree with you, buddy. And welcome aboard. I know you've been here for a few minutes. I meant to shout you out a little while ago. You're totally right, though. And I keep hearing guys like Vince McMahon and anyone else that, when they talk about guys like Jim Cornette, who basically echo the same things I'm saying. You know, I love listening to Cornette because I agree with him. At least with wrestling, not so much other things, but he and I politically would never get along for 2 minutes. But aside from that, I love him. Let me see what we got here. Last man standing, no holds barred. Extreme Rules, boom. Battleground, that'll work. Andre the Giant, and he's going up against Braun Strowman. Ooh, 88 versus 89. Look at that. I think Braun Strowman's numbers are going to go up a little bit for 2K19. What do you think? I think he's going to be at that 91 mark. Yeah, that was handled so badly. CM Punk absolutely should have headlined, and he should have still been the champion, and that should have been his first match back. They rushed SummerSlam. It wasn't as good as it could have been. And I'll tell you, the best John Cena match I have ever seen was their final go-home match. It was on Raw. Monday Night Raw, just regular match. And they pulled out all the stops in that one. They were using pile drivers. They were using friggin' John Cena threw a hurricane run off the top rope on CM Punk. It was a great match. Told a great story. And you saw these guys pulling out the moves that you save for the special events. Why the hell was that not WrestleMania? Yeah, let me mention that too, by the way. Thank you guys so much, man. In the last, 48 hours, that number's bounced pretty well. I mean, up 10, 12. And again, I know I'm not like one of the mega conglomerates out there in YouTube broadcasting, but we started at 470 when 2K18 rolled out. So, and that was over the course of 3 years of building this particular channel. I had several others that got shut down. But now, with this one, it's over 3 years, it was 100 a year. And again, I don't promote the channel myself all that much. You don't see me go, even to our community page. I don't promote on there. I don't sit there and say, hey, I'm broadcasting this time and I got this event coming up. Once in a blue moon, but it's rare. It's very rare. I rely on word of mouth, and I've always said, and I believe this to be true, that if you put out a good product that people like, it'll go on its own. Now, if you're a hot blonde with big tits, that'll help you too. Trying to find me one of them to be like my on-air, and then we'll just go on screen as well, We'll do cutaway interviews and shit. Whoever said sex sells know what the hell they're talking about. Great Muda and Onita. I don't have... Well, I've got Muda, obviously, but I don't have Onita. Yeah, thank you again for that, SLS. The Children's Miracle Network, I don't... I pushed it hard when we did the super stream, and we did well. And we're at $140 now, but you can still go there anytime and add more, and I'm going to. I'm just waiting to see what these medical bills cost. Because I might be needing some. I'm a little too old to qualify. I'm trying to put a call into Vegas real quick to see who's winning this match. Andre's got the 1-point differential. Let's see if that plays out. I should probably go ahead and up Braun's stats, even though I never use them. I don't have Kabuki anymore either. I had to get rid of him to make room for others. After I did the Japan run, that's why I wanted to get that done. I had to get rid of the majority of the Japanese roster. There's one name that I kept, and I'm not going to give it away yet because he'll be showing up in the near future. But yeah, you can go to that link below in the description anytime. Click on that if you want to donate to the Children's Miracle Network. It's an awesome organization, and they help out not only the kids but their families as well. These kids are going through life-changing, life-threatening situations. You know, I got a neck problem. It's nothing compared to the stuff these young people are dealing with. And a lot of times their parents have to leave home with the kids to go to another state to get the medical treatment they need, and they could be there for a year at a time. And now all of a sudden they have to worry about housing and all these other things that a lot of us just take for granted. So that's where the money goes. And, you know, when it comes to donating money, I used to donate to religious things and stuff like that. But then you hear all these pastors that live in $1 million houses, you know, and it's like, that's not what I want the money going to. And I'm sure some of it definitely goes where it should, and they do good work with it. But, you know, with the Children's Miracle Network, their track record is pretty solid. I'd be amazed if the names that are tied to that, names like Marie Osmond and John Schneider from the Dukes of Hazzard and a list of others, I don't imagine them wanting to sully their names, and they don't need to. They all have money. Andre getting his ass whooped right now, by the way. But yeah, man, kids are like puppies. They're defenseless. They need help. So if I have spare money, that's where it's going to. It is all tax write-off, tax deductible. So, you know, they give you a receipt right there after you make your donation. It is a spectacular thing. So if you do so feel inclined, well, Kabuki, I'm pretty sure, is downloadable. Somebody, I didn't make him. I downloaded him. I just can't remember who I downloaded him from, but he's there. Andre having a real tough time with Braun Strowman. He gonna come and get these hands. Look at this overhead press. Let me tell you something. If he did that to Andre in real life, I would be more impressed than the trucks and the friggin' table at the broadcast position. That would be more impressive to me than anything. You've got Kabuki. There we go. Hey, Victor Caesar Justo Banderero. Thank you so much. Wow, and just as he subs, look what happens. Sting comes out to celebrate. Well, this is a no DQ match, though, isn't it not? Uh-oh, Sting, you fucked up. Sting gonna come get these hands. Andre from behind taking advantage. Referee's like, what the hell's going on in here? Oh, we got us a, look at this. Braun is out of it. Yeah, that is another thing that I really anticipate they're going to give us. I don't think they're going to go to 200. Be nice, but I don't think so. They're going to go probably 150 is my guess. I think they're going to go up to 150. Or I would be equally happy. You don't have to even do the extra slots, although, you know, give us 125. Let us make alternate attires for the existing roster without it costing me a fucking cost slot. It's like my Andre. I had him in his 80s attire, but I had to get rid of that because I needed the space. Holy shit, how many guys are going to run into this match? Somebody's overbooking. 2 count. Yeah, Bishop, I'm right there with you, man. I worked in a private school for a number of years, and they're a big school out here. And it was kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Once you see behind the curtain, it can be a little demoralizing. And I'm not going to say they didn't do any good work. They did. But I wish I didn't see behind the curtain. And I'll leave it at that. Oh, the whole world just came down on Braun Strowman. Me either, man. 2 run-ins. And Andre gets the win. That turned out to be a pretty good friggin' match. Who would have guessed? Wow, the highlight is showing Sting. Gotta love it. All right, guys. Well, listen, I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me this morning. I needed this. Again, 2K19 officially has been announced. I'm going to predict there's going to be multiple stars on the cover, and they're going to feature Charlotte. They're going to feature AJ and maybe Braun. Maybe Braun instead of Kevin Owen. Maybe Braun and Kevin Owen. You can put 4 on there. Braun's so big he could be behind Charlotte and he'd still tower. Could have his arms back up in the air like, Andre, like right there. I don't know. We'll see. But that's my prediction for that. I am in the Sunshine State here in the US of A. That would be Florida. And again, for anyone who's watching this stream afterwards, if you have any advice, if you've done any of these neck surgeries that I kind of described earlier on, I'm all about getting feedback from other people because this is a pretty legitimate thing that I got to make some real serious thoughts and decisions on before I go forward with it. So, we'll see. That's all I can say, man. Gonna go with the needle first and see what that does. Hopefully that fixes everything, but I just don't know how realistic that is at this point in time. It's all good, man. You're in Calgary. Corey, in a nutshell, I talked about it way earlier in the stream, but in a nutshell, the C6 and the C7 vertebrae, the disc in between the two is bulging, and it's bulging because it is, what's the word they used? Dehydrating, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's a hereditary thing. They told me to thank my parents. So, it's kind of like when the air goes out of your tire in the car, the bottom of the tire kind of bulges outward. That's what the vertebrae, or not the vertebrae, but the disc is doing, and it's pressing on a nerve, which is causing all kinds of pain from my right shoulder blade, right underneath the scapula, all the way down the right arm and leaving numbness in the right fingers. So, right now, the next step, right now I'm on some steroid pills, and they're not even the good ones that'll help me get muscle mass. And this is day 3 right now, I think, that I'm on, so it's had a mild effect, but definitely not going to fix the problem. And after the 5th day of that is complete, and it doesn't work, then we will do the needle, which is going to be basically them sticking a needle directly to the spot and injecting steroids. And then we go from there to see if that fixes it or not. And if not, then that brings us to a really common surgery. But the problem is, generally speaking, when they perform it, they go through the front of your throat area, and they move your voice box and your throat to the side to get to the vertebrae. Well, the concern there, in talking to some people, is that when they do that, it is possible it can affect your voice afterwards. And as you guys know, I kind of rely on my voice right now for this stuff. And I don't know what the future holds, but I mean, at some point in time, I might do this to make a few bucks on the side. I might want to retire at some point in time and still work from home maybe and make a couple $100 a month extra just doing something silly like this. And if I can't do my voices, that's going to impact that. So that's kind of where I'm at with that right now. But I've talked to a lot of people that have gone through it already, and I'm surprised how many people I know and didn't know they've done this. And they've done everything from the guy that did the needle and had it all cleared up, and 30 years later has never had a reflare, to the guy who had the surgery and said, nope, can't go near my voice box because I'm a singer, and he does that for a profession, so you got to go through the back, which they can do apparently, but it's a little bit more tricky. Anyway, I just needed to vent a little bit, and thank you guys for being there. And again, anyone watching this after we go off the air, if you have had any such experience and any words of wisdom, I'm all about it. Thank you, Corey. I do appreciate it. And I appreciate all you guys being here today. I think I'm going to go check out some SLS, man. We're going to go to the sports lounge for a little bit and let somebody else take over the controls here for a while. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again next time ringside here when we go once again with the State of the Nation. Have a great day. I will be back, if not sooner, then it'll be early Monday morning and early Tuesday morning and early Wednesday morning for our regular scheduled programming. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Call